Civilization 7 came out in February of this year for the Xbox, PlayStation, and PC through Steam. Retailing for $60, the base game is currently on sale for 30% off. A retooling of diplomacy and a streamlining of its gameplay, is Civilization 7 worth playing on console? This review is going to answer that question.
We celebrate our triumphs and bury our regrets.
Let's start the review, as we always do, by discussing the technicals of Civ 7 on console. The game runs decently, at least in the early stages. You have the option of playing tiny maps all the way to huge, with the game adding more AI players at each stage. As I said, the game runs well at the start of every game, regardless of the map size you choose. But as it goes on, things start to churn and chug along when you press the next turn button or need to assign resources to your cities and settlements. If you have over 20 towns, the game really becomes unwieldy on console, and when I reached over 30 settlements, the resource management section of the game, where you assign resources to each town, it became unplayable. It would take a few seconds to pull out the menu and close to half a minute at times to close it. That might not seem like a lot, but when you're dealing with it every turn and there's diplomacy, city building, and wars going on, it does get in the way. Apart from the slowdowns, the UI is bugged as well. It's hard to see what you have selected in every menu on console. It's difficult to find certain things, such as which units you have resting, which you have active. Navigating the menus can be a pain, and it isn't just about being on console, there is a fundamental flaw with the UI. It's been simplified compared to previous games, but that simplification means you just don't have the same amount of control and tools you do over your Civ as you did in Civ 5 and Civ 6. Thankfully, the game didn't crash, but there is a lot of general bugs, such as units not moving correctly or not moving at all. They won't attack at times, they even get stuck on objects in the world. It's odd for a Civ game to be this unpolished 6 months after release.
The world economy is stitched together as never before. And in this new tapestry comes a voice of order.
Since Civ games don't really have a story or narrative, let's talk about the changes to the victory conditions compared to previous entries in the series. Civ 7 has been majorly simplified compared to other Civ games, to the benefit of its victories. There are 4 victory conditions, and every time you play, and I played 5 games to conclusion, you pick which one you would like to focus on. That doesn't mean you're stuck to a certain victory condition. I would often have access to all of them by the end of the game, but you're given tasks and quests along the way to help you achieve your victory goal. These come from military conquest, having a strong economy, having a supreme culture, and being a space exploration science behemoth. The 4 are similar to previous entries, but the requirements to achieve these have been changed. In the past, military conquest would involve conquering the whole world, but now you just have to earn enough points by expanding your settlements or conquering other players' settlements to win. Earn enough points, you achieve victory. For economy, you need to have railroad connections and transport special goods between your cities by assigning them through the menu that would lag in the late game. For culture, in previous games you would need to build wonders. In this game, you just need to find and display so many artifacts from past civilizations, scouring the world for them in the modern age. Wonders don't really matter at all. Finally, science victory requires you to launch a rocket into space, but the technology isn't really the end of the focus tree, and you can easily get there with any Civ and any playstyle. I really liked that you now have quests and missions in each age that earn you points that carry over to the next age. That means if you're a really good warlord in the Antiquity Age, you're going to have more points to put in it during the Age of Exploration and the Modern Age. That being said, the points and bonuses don't do a whole lot, and they aren't really game-breaking, so you don't really need to worry too much about achieving them.
Будем же править силой личности, страстью, а не посредством бескровной системы.
Let's focus on the gameplay of Civ 7. For this review, I'm going to assume you've played the Civ games before, so I'm just going to focus more on how Civ 7 is different from other entries in the series. First, as I said before, it's been majorly simplified and streamlined. The game takes place in 3 ages: the Age of Antiquity, the Age of Exploration, and the Modern Age. Each age has its own quirks and missions. For example, the Age of Exploration has religions, and you can reach distant lands, which is basically any landmass that's separate from the one you start on. Religion in this age gives you big bonuses for converting people or having your own civ follow your religion. Distant land settlements give bonuses to those towns that you start there, and they will generate treasure convoys to bring in gold and goods, provided you get them back to your main civ safely from across the sea. The Modern Age is the last age and it's the end game, while the Age of Antiquity is the start and it's the slowest part where you're basically settling places and dealing with the game's city-states. City-states themselves have been overhauled and are now combined with barbarian encampments. There are no more barbarian camps randomly appearing. Instead, city-states will be hostile, neutral, or friendly to you depending on your playstyle. You can sway city-states and they give you bonuses when you take control of them. The problem is, when you switch to a new age, those city-states disappear and are replaced with new ones. Right off the bat, the age transition is strange and jarring, and even after playing 5 games from beginning to end, I'm not sure if I really like it or not. You start each game by picking your leader, who each have different bonuses, and then you pick a civ for that leader from a small list to choose from. You go through the Age of Antiquity, founding settlements, swaying city-states, and meeting your neighbors. Settlements you found or take by combat or control through influence all turn into towns. Towns generate money, but they can't be built in like you can in your cities. Instead, everything in towns needs to be bought with gold. Spend gold to buy buildings and expand, and the town gives you money back each turn instead of using its production. By spending a set amount of gold, anywhere from 200 to 3,000 depending on the size and the state of the town, you turn that town into a city. Cities act exactly like the ones you remember from previous games, where you expand and build buildings. But another change is the fact that you don't have builders anymore. Instead, tiles are unlocked and upgraded by expanding your town, giving bonuses and other increases in yields. Civ 7 is about having a lot of cities up to the cap without any downsides, meaning you will have 20, 30, sometimes even 40 towns and cities by the end of the game, unlike old Civ games where you may only have a couple. That means that space is at a premium in Civ 7, and founding new settlements, especially in distant lands, is incredibly important. When an age finally transitions after a player has achieved all of their quests in a certain path, for example, finding 12 relics or conquering or founding enough settlements, the age transitions to the next. You will go from the Age of Antiquity to the Age of Exploration, and all your troops will upgrade to the next level. Your cities, on the other hand, all convert back to towns. You will keep the things you built in them, but you need to pay gold once again if you want to change them from towns to cities in order to produce, otherwise they just generate income. To make things even more confusing during the age transition, you need to pick a new civ. Each age requires a new selection of civ, and you are locked out from the ones whose requirements you don't meet. This can be a bit confusing, but think of it this way. You start as Ancient Greece and Antiquity, then you unlock the Normans in the Age of Exploration because you conquered a bunch. Then when you go to the Modern Age, you pick another civ that's connected to it, possibly France or Russia. Each game requires 3 civs to pick from, and you can't keep your old civ. There is no way to stay as Greece for the whole playthrough. Your leader, however, stays with you.
Restless conquerors, the Normans seek out new lands, and with their mighty stone castles, they hold what they take. Norman society is made of courtly knights and chivalry, chivalers and keeps. It offers protection under the sword. Stand and receive the fealty of your knights. The Norman yoke is upon the land.
Leaders and civs are completely unbalanced. Some, such as Xerxes or Catherine the Great, are broken, while others are just really terrible. The civs themselves are the same. Some generate so much money that it trivializes everything, since money buys buildings, cities, and troops. Gold is the most important thing in the game, and some leaders are just naturally better at generating it than others. Then there is the AI. They still suck. If you play on a smaller map, which I suggest you do since the game runs more smoothly, you'll be building and fighting for land, and the AI absolutely hates it when you build close to them. They also hate when you influence their city-states or do pretty much anything in competition with them. No matter which Civ you pick, which leader you have, how you do diplomacy, which has been simplified to very basic actions, leaders will declare war on you. War is inevitable, and if you have enough gold, super easy to win. The downside of wars is that they're both time-consuming and resource-intensive, and you don't get a lot for them. Taking other Civ's towns does seem cool, but it doesn't give you much, and the money you spend is often not really worth it. Resources make a return in Civ 7, but they work a bit differently here. You can trade resources with other Civs using merchants, and resources give your civilization bonuses. You no longer need coal or oil to buy units. Instead, they just make building ships quicker or give units more combat power, or the resources that you assign give like happiness or culture or science to a city. The happiness of your Civ is a resource just like any other, and when you get enough, you get a celebration, which gives you a super big bonus depending on your government type. But again, the game is really easy because it has been simplified and streamlined, even on the harder difficulties. You can win just by doing what the game suggests, building where it says and following your advisors. But if you have a decent understanding of the game, and you pick the right leader and the right Civ, you can have so much money that wars just don't matter anymore because you can buy troops each turn in all of your cities and towns. You can research anything because you have so much science. There are times when I was rocking tanks against horse cavalry, aircraft carriers against old wooden ships. But the age transition means that you're never super overpowered until the modern age because everything resets each age, and the AI is just really never that far behind you.
We must learn from our past. The future is waiting.
All right, let's go into the pros and cons of Civ 7 on console. For the pros, the game looks great. It's bright and colorful with lots of detail added in. It's just as addicting as the past games, and I enjoyed each one of the campaigns I played. The new victory mechanics and quests make each victory condition easy to understand and achieve. Diplomacy has been revamped, and it's clear, concise, and easy to use. For the cons, the game really churns when you're in the last age and have 20 or more cities. Play on the smaller maps on console. The age transition means that you're always playing as 3 different Civs, and you lose a lot of your progress. The game is just super easy, even on the harder difficulties. Streamlining and simplifying the gameplay means that veteran players are going to want more here. There isn't a lot of content right now, and each game plays the exact same way. There are only 4 victory conditions and only a few maps to choose from, and the map generator itself needs some work with creating variety. And that's it for another review. So, is Civ 7 worth playing on console? Not really. Look, I loved playing it. I put in over 60 hours here, but I didn't pay full price for it. And if I had, I would be super disappointed. For the amount of money it costs on both Steam and console, just buy Civ 6 with all the DLC. Hell, for a quarter of the price, you can get Civ 5 with all the DLC. I would suggest that if you want to play Civ 7, wait until it's on sale with all of its DLC in another year or 2. It's not worth it, even on sale, not for the amount of content you get here. I'm the Casual Console Gamer on YouTube, and I'll see you all in the next review.